Yes, guys are hypocrites, and you're going to find out why tonight.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Good Friday night to you. I'm sure a lot of you are prepping for the big game tomorrow with PC and URI. You know that I'm nothing but a dumb jock anyway, and we will be looking at that tonight in the last part of our broadcast. Both Coach Cooley and Coach Cox have had some more aggressive than usual things to say about tomorrow night's 5 o'clock sold-out game at the Dunk. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the broadcast, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, my guest, and you can actually see her hands already. She's so ready to go. Her hands are in the shot. Move back, will you? By the way, you're going to find out that we are in sync in a very strange way in about 10 seconds. Anyway, Ann Sorrentino is here tonight. Needs no introduction, of course. And she's going to tell us why the politics today just, well, I'm not even sure what she's going to tell us, but I've read what she says, and I'm always completely fascinated by her point of view. There's some gender politics out there, in addition to Republican and Democrat and Trump versus non-Trump type of stuff that's going on that she has a very strong perspective on and always has. In the meantime, just a quick note, next week we're going to pay some significant attention to this education bomb that came out here with Rhode Island's testing performance up against the Massachusetts testing performance. We have our own casts now, okay? We have the MCAS, which has been 2 decades old and has been part and parcel to the growth and the performance of students in Massachusetts. While we've been doing this, well, this commissioner finally said, look, here's the truth. We stink. And we're 20 points behind Massachusetts. And if you're watching this in Massachusetts, congratulations. And if you're watching this in Rhode Island, it's time to put our helmets on. So we're on that. The commissioner's our guest on Tuesday of next week. And we will follow up on the shenanigans that I'm sure went on in part in South Kingstown tonight on Monday. There's kind of a South Kingstown version of a Saturday Night Massacre going on in the political environment down there. So lots to talk about. Here's the headline that caused me to say, time to get Marianne in here. Men's hypocrisy angers women of America. Friday nights are good because I can let go. We tape our shows on Thursday for Friday, so whatever happened today, we'll catch up next week. And no, we did not send the memo to each other about color. Does this mean that we're probably spirit the core today, you and me?
I don't know. We've always been, even whatever we wore. As far as away as we are on most issues, there's some camaraderie here.
Oh, of course
Good to see you.
Always is. What's your point?
Well, first of all, I can't take responsibility for the headline because, as you know,
you write it.
Yeah, I write it. Well, I always put a headline on because I like to see if I can get my headline in there. I always like my headline better than what
was your headline?
I don't remember because I'm 75 years old. I want to know what I ate today. I don't remember that either. So, but it was something. It was something about. It probably intimated, this. But anyway, the men's hypocrisy. My headline probably was something like, we've had enough, and that's, now cry uncle, something to that effect. Because as those of you who didn't see it, I read.
You asked the question, why are women so angry?
Right.
So let's start with that.
Yeah, and I was taking the question, why are women so angry, to jump off the election results of the midterm elections, which showed in large numbers by not only how many women got out to vote, both middle-class women and low-income women and women of color and every kind of woman, gay, straight, in a wheelchair, whatever, we all got out there. And we not only got out there, but we and the men who voted with us elected a record-breaking numbers of women at every level in Congress, in the Senate, in governor's offices. And so we have good reason to finally show what the power of the majority of the population of this country. We're just not some throwaway. We're like 52% of the American population, and yet we keep being treated, and this column gave examples of my lifetime, of various incidents in my lifetime, where you just get treated like trash. And, you know, I don't walk in a room, and I never have since I was a young woman. I don't walk in there ever feeling like I'm the dumbest person in the room, or that I, because some guy sitting behind the desk, have to shake in my boots. And I never understand when they act as if I should. And in this first story is like my favorite feminist story, which is the one about applying for the job at Jordan Marsh. And my favorite letter, I get a lot of mail from my columns. It's probably the only reason that Ed Acorn keeps me on there, because I got a letter from some older guy from the Westerly area. And the reason I know he's older is because at the end of this wonderful note he said, "I'm not a Marine, I never have been, but Semper Fi, young lady." So I know he's not 25 because he doesn't say young lady. So, and he said, "There's nothing like the power of a personal experience. And this story and your passion about that jackass from Jordan Marsh 52 years ago still shows through," and it does, because I'm still as angry today as I was then. I was a young bride. We were moving to Boston. We had moved to Boston. My husband was going to law school, and it was Vietnam. We were grateful that he was in law school, so he wasn't in, you know, going to have to go to Vietnam for a while. And I go to apply for a job, some clerk job at Jordan Marsh. It wasn't like I was going to be the head buyer or somebody. And this guy's got, I'm not going to show you on television. He has his legs up on the desk. He's on the phone. I'm sitting there waiting to be heard or listened to or asked questions of. And he's talking about some party they went to the night before. And he keeps talking about the party. And like 20 minutes later, I'm still sitting there. Then when he finally starts to talk to me and reading my CV and asking me questions, he says, "Well, your husband's going to BU Law. He may graduate and leave Boston." And I said, I didn't say, you know, "Good for you, Sherlock." I just said, "Yeah, that could happen." And then he said, he read a little more, and he said, "And you're a young bride, you might get pregnant." And I said, "Well, so might all the unmarried women who work for Jordan Marsh." I knew then the job was over. I mean, I knew. And at that point, it's more fun, because I'm going to not get the job anyway. Finally, I left, and that was the end. But, you know, today you could never do half of those questions because it's against the law. But what is a man like that thinking? I'm applying for a job which is putting round pegs in round holes. That's all I need to know.
Well, to your point, that's yesterday. Why are you, A, why are you still burning angry? And B, what's the application to the modern politic?
Because there are still men doing that. So that happened in 1966, 67, okay? Fast forward, I finished, I did my job in Boston, I did it well, I came back to Rhode Island, I got other jobs. So now it's approximately, from 1966, 67, we're talking about 1980. And I founded an organization, a not-for-profit. This wasn't a job for me. This was a volunteer thing I wanted to do, because when I was a young girl, a young boy that was a close friend of mine died of what we were told was leukemia. But then I realized as the years went on that it wasn't leukemia, it was Mediterranean anemia, Cooley's anemia, which is something people need to know more about. And it affects people in this particular area in the south of Italy and the north of Africa, and that part of the Mediterranean. And it's genetic, and people who have the trait can get married to another person with the trait, and they have a 1 in 4 chance of their child dying. So we should know. Anyway, I started this group, and I was very blessed to have wonderful doctors and wonderful people, lawyers, etc., join the board. And then we're chugging along, and I get a call one day from a doctor on the board, and he says, "Marianne, that meeting on Thursday, where is it again?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. What meeting?" He said, "You know, the meeting," and then he realized that I didn't know anything about it. And he realized that the guy who called the meeting didn't invite me. And I'm the president and founder of the organization. So he said, "So-and-so called the meeting." And it's a well-known attorney, later judge, who's now deceased. So because I don't ever speak bad of the dead, I won't tell you his name. I'll speak bad about him, but I won't tell you who it is. And so I called this guy, whom I knew, And I said, what are you doing? You didn't invite me. He said, well, you know, we're going to meet at the Aurora Club, and I thought you'd be uncomfortable. And I said, could I remind you that my uncle and my father were charter members of the Aurora Club, and I've been eating there since I was 3? So I said, besides, you could have had the meeting at McDonald's where I would have been comfortable in your opinion, but you didn't. You chose to have it there. So you can't have it there or I'm coming. What, you know, you pick. Now, that's how many years later? Fast forward, then I worked in broadcasting. Now, that wasn't that long ago. You want to be treated badly?
Time out.
You be a woman in broadcasting.
Let's get this uninterrupted. We shall be right back.
The women are laughing.
Hold on. We'll be back. So somehow we are going to connect some of these life stories that my guest is still PO'd about to this particular concept, because she ties it in her column, most recently published in the Providence Journal, about Election Day, what was learned, where the Me Too movement is, and the like. If you missed the first stories, check it out on foxprovidence.com. Your radio experience was also an advisor to your opinion about the election?
When I, you know...
How many years were you on the radio?
13.
13.
That's a long time.
I know. Well, you know, how about this? As we tape, and last night, 19 years for me on WPRL. So how about that?
That's real.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And that was after you, so...
So watch out, because if you find a little fish in your mailbox, you know it's coming.
Okay. Well, there you go. I just won't check the mailbox. Anyway, your point.
Well, broadcasting is a male-dominated, it's a sales business. It's about, I mean, as you know, the administration is always former salespeople, because that's what it's about. It's about sales. It's not about how talented you are. If tomorrow you don't get enough, Cardi's doesn't sell enough furniture, they're going to be calling you in. That's how it works. So I'm working in this place. And
let me call Nairobi right now and see how they're doing.
See how they're doing. It's harder if you're a feminist, because they don't want to talk to you even if they're doing big business. But I went into radio, you probably don't know, because I left Planned Parenthood voluntarily. I waited until the Canon Law Society of America said that the bishop was wrong and I wasn't. I wanted to do that. And then I said, okay, now I went to my board and I said, listen, I think I have one more great job left in me. I was like 43 years and whatever. So I said, I'm going to give you a year's notice, but I'm going to start looking at it. So I started a business of my own. It was called Mass Communications. It was to help not-for-profits do marketing, which I thought was necessary in those days. This is now. I left Planned Parenthood in 1987. And so, you know, when you're starting a new business, it's nice to have some startup money. So I thought, what can I do to really make some money while I'm getting this thing going? So I made an appointment at HJJ at the time with Ron St. Pierre, and I went to see Ron, and I said, there are no women in talk radio. I'm the woman because I have name recognition. And they actually fired a couple of guys whose names you would know to make a slot for me. So that was one time when it was about the name recognition. It wasn't about gender. But I had been all over the papers for so long.
Right.
So anyway, then I got in there and I realized, you know, as time went on, I'm watching and I said, gee, the guys get this and I'm not getting it. And they're getting that. You know, when I did my show outside the studio, they were all getting bonuses for being off. I wasn't getting that. And I didn't have a cell phone, and they did. And so then I went on the warpath. And I just started, I said to my husband, what lawyer is going to represent me? I need a lawyer. And he said, call Everett Petronio, because he represents Vinnie Pazienza. He can probably handle you. So that's what I did. And Everett was like, I'm just perfect. He just like looked around and said, they're getting that and you're not getting it. So, you know, because there were no women. And frankly, most of the men in broadcasting hated that. Salty hated it. And I went...
Hated what? That there were no women? Or hated that there was
that there were women who were working equal to him.
Really?
Oh.
Well.
One day when I went
Salty's not here to defend himself on that one, but your point, though, about your experience
it still goes on. Today, it's still happening.
And...
Got to stop.
Now you need to talk to me about what this means in terms of, why don't we do this? We'll pause, we'll come back. What does this mean in terms of what the election results just showed us? Because that's really the meat of the argument. Stay with us. All righty, so
How did this translate to
life
votes?
experiences of Ann Sorrentino advise, all of our life experiences advise our opinions and help to form them. You're trying to wrap all this together in terms of explaining why women are just PO'd, right? Talk to me about it, because you're really good at the politics too. Tell me about what do you think is happening right now?
Well, what I think is happening, it has been happening for a while, and it's just been fueled right now in the last 2 years, is that women, you know, when Hillary Clinton was nominated, whether you like her or don't like her or whatever, whoever you voted for in that election, it was a big deal for us because we had been waiting for so long for a woman. And whatever else you think, she's not a stupid person. And, you know, whatever. She may not be the best candidate, but we had a woman candidate.
Yeah, we're talking about the Democratic side.
Yeah.
For the
Now, so women were starting to feel like there were possibilities for them. And then the whole thing blew up in our faces. But we still understood that we had voting power. And I think that the National Democratic Party and others, and the media really, fueled this in the midterms by saying how important the votes of certain groups were going to be. And we were always top of the heap, the, you know, women, if the women come out, if they blah, blah. And so when election night, I mean, I was so geared up for this midterm election night. I mean, I'm up for all of them, but this one. And when I saw these states come in where we wouldn't necessarily have had a good shot, we were electing governors, and even with the people who didn't win. The woman who ran for governor in Georgia, she was such an extraordinary example of how far women have come. A black woman with degrees from Yale and Harvard, you know, and you know, she was really screwed by a corrupt system in Georgia, but she'll be back. We've been waiting 2,000 years for this, and because we know how smart we are, and we know how hardworking we are, and you know, we're now starting to exercise our muscle, and the best of all the opposition sees it. That is, men see it, and even women who are Phyllis Schlafly clones. Phyllis Schlafly, who was the leader of the anti-feminist movement in the 70s and 80s. And, you know, some of our biggest enemies are other women who want us, because they're reading the Bible and it says, don't leave the house, cook and just be ready for bed when he's ready, whatever. That's what it says. And we're not doing that now.
I laugh because it feels so archaic. Let me ask you this. I hear what you're saying. Is the Me Too thing? It seems that this recognition of equal capability is New Wave identified because of bad behavioral stuff. That the bad behavior is the phlegm that's got to be coughed up in order for this thing that you think is true and I believe is true to be recognized and just be put to bed. In other words, so your skill set as a woman is clear. Listen, I work for women. I understand. I'm tired of having to say I recognize it, because I just do. It doesn't make me evolved. It's just the way you have to. You know, there's a lot of estrogen in my family. I got a daughter. I got a wife. I got 4 sisters. And I get all this stuff. I'm also a little bit conservative in some of the gender issues, so we'd have isolated arguments about certain things. But it is the phlegm of male-female bad behavior that is causing a new lease on it. The rise of right.
Well, yes. I think that certainly. The Me Too movement has brought attention to women, first from that movement as it getting the public pity and sympathy as victims.
And you got to be careful not to overplay it.
No, and I don't think but it gets a space on the front page. Then once we get on the front page, we can fill that space with other things. Now, I mean, but you're right, and it's a good point to make that we shouldn't confuse Me Too, which meant sexual harassment, Me Too, I've been through that. It was very specifically something, and that's what it was. It wasn't talking about not getting the jobs you should have gotten, and it was about sexual harassment. But it catapulted us to the front page, or the headlines, or the opening story in 6 o'clock news on TV, wherever. And then once we're there, we can say, by the way, on top of being sexually harassed, I invented the atom, and I never got credit for it. You know, I mean,
I know. I get your point. So you get a minute. In a minute's time, tell me where you think we're going with gender politics in the next round.
Oh, I think that this next election will be kind of, we opened it up in the midterms, and now that was like the appetizer. By the time we get to the next elections, I think we're going to see female candidates, and we're going to see them winning. We're going to see women coming out to vote in record numbers again, and the Republicans ought to be terrified because the bulk of those people are not voting for Republicans.
We need some Republican women.
No, it's not about that. It's about, I mean, if you, frankly, and I don't care who knows it, you won't like this, and some of them won't like it that are watching.
I hardly have time, but go ahead.
If you were somebody who voted for Donald Trump, or that stupid person that just got elected to the Senate from Mississippi, if she runs in the midterm, in the next election in 2020, I will watch out, because, you know, people like that are just not going to be tolerated by them.
Come back often, will you? Good to see you.
Well, you got to invite me.
Well, I'll invite you more often.
We
have to invite her more often.
This is only the second time I've been on this.
Oh, well.
It's been on for 4 weeks.
4 weeks and 5 years. On the PC Friars and the URI Rams next. So you remember URI got PC at the Ryan Center last year. This year a little different. Both teams are really young. Coach Cox, though, pretty open about how important it is.
And I've been, well, let's see, four times we played them, and we've only gotten them once, you know, since I've been the coach. I've been on the losing end, some kind of heartbreaking losses with them. But again, it's a great game to play because of all, because of the rivalry, because of the intensity of the game. It's going to be a very physical game. You know, the entire state is kind of polarized right now, by the game, and I'm just excited to for the first time being the lead guy on the sideline, and I like actually the fact that we're going up to the dunk, going in hostile territory. I'll be able to see how I respond, and we'll see how these guys respond as well.
Right. And Coach Cooley, after FDU's beatdown the other night, Cooley usually downplays this game. He says, it's another game, blah, blah, blah. Not so much this week.
I think we're battle tested for it. Playing the South Carolinas, the Michigans, the Wichitas is for that reason. I've watched Rhodey a little bit. They're a totally different team. I think we got our hands full. Russell played really well against us last year. It's a game a lot of people are excited about. We're excited about it. Excited to be playing here in our building. So I think it'll be a great game for everyone. The excitement should be high, and hopefully I do a good job preparing our group.
So I think more balanced candor from both coaches. There's nothing wrong with saying it really means a lot, and we don't want to lose this thing. So that ought to be a dandy. I'm not making any predictions, full disclosure, I'm the PA announcer for URI, but I'm a PC fan all year long, except for one day, tomorrow. Both Cooley and Cox are expected to join us in the next couple of weeks here on the set, so we'll keep our powder dry, all right? Enjoy it, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you Monday. Good night.